Welcome to the MontCAS Test Security and Data Integrity video on Local Monitoring Part 2, where examples of the DIR of the PDIR will be provided for local desk and site monitoring from different school perspectives, including the building coordinator role. This video will explore these objectives so the viewer can complete this training with the following understandings. Monitor plan example. Did you successfully set the stage or expectations? Did you clearly articulate the parameters including who, what, when, where? Did you implement a monitoring plan successfully to learn how effectively things are working? Did you evaluate the processes or data fully? Is it accurate? Did you observe anything that can be improved in the future? Now with the monitor plan established, let's walk through some examples. Step 3, actively monitoring. We will give an example on what this might look like using the TIDE system tools. Step 4, inspect and reflect. Examples of detection in the PDIR model. Conduct during assessment observations to see how things are going. Do you notice any positive patterns and trends? Do you notice anything that could use improvement? What worked well, what didn't? Once students log in and are approved for testing, you can monitor their status from the tables displayed on the TA interface. The table shows student information, opportunity number, test name, progress, test status, test setting, and an actions option. The progress column displays the student's progress through the items in the test. It may display a progress bar to indicate the student's progress through the test or display the number of items completed thus far and the total number of items in the test. The test status column indicates a student's testing status. These are just two of the ways to have active monitoring as a test administrator. This allows a TA to check in with the student to know if he or she is engaged or needs support. This platform of the test delivery system can also detect that a student may be having technical issues or requires assistance. A tests with potential issues table will appear above the tests without issue table. As you can see in the blue, both proctors and students can also monitor their progress within the assessment. If your school plans to test over multiple days, you may wish to have students pause their tests at a certain point so they can resume testing at another time. You may also allow a pause if students are taking a break from testing or if they need to leave the room for any reason. Whether they have been instructed to do so or not, students have the ability to pause their test at any time by clicking the pause button in the upper left corner of the screen. As a security measure, after 30 minutes of test inactivity, students are logged out and their tests are paused automatically. Inactivity is determined by whether or not the student is interacting with the test by selecting answers or using navigation tools. Test administrators have two options within the TA interface: to pause or to stop testing once it has begun. You can pause an individual student's test or stop the entire session. Here is an example of the Smarter Balanced Assessment Observation Site Visit Checklist. This can be used locally and is the same version used by the OPI. For example, observer checks to observe if materials in the room could give an examinee an unfair advantage are covered or removed. Or, testing in progress. Do not disturb signs are posted on all entrances to the testing location. These are just a few ways to monitor before and during assessment. This local monitoring example now transitions into what to do with the information once you have it. Step 5, inspect. Example of inspection in the PDIR model confirm and compare results. In some cases, more information is needed to explain observations. Where do you look for information? Who is involved? What information is missing? Is there anything that explains these findings? If so, what? Step 6. Compare data. Example of remediation in the PDIR model. Once all information has been gathered about test administration, use this to inform next steps, such as any training needs, changes to training, changes to testing schedules or locations, implementation of practice, training, interim tests before summative testing. Lastly, the monitoring plan needs to involve all players of the system. Step 7. Report results. Example of remediation in the PDIR model. Share these results with your team to brainstorm additional next steps for future improvement in efficiency and steps. Step 8. Adjust goals. The final step of the PDIR is to improve changes and/or adjustments as a result of what was learned over the cycle. Now please take a moment to complete these H5P questions before we move on to the next concept.